These are questions that we're going to start to answer. We recently kicked off a study that we named COCA. I forget all of the words in the acronym, but it's a community assessment on how we do outreach, how we bring in data, turn that into information for decision making, and then how we report back on how projects have gone to the community. So transparency. We're going to be doing that along with a steering group that is not LTD employees. We're going to have an external steering group lead that. We're going to have LTD employees serve as a resource for that effort so that we can look at what best practices outreach actually looks like, if there is such a thing. If there is, have it right here in Eugene Springfield area. So that's what we're going to do. And then from there, we're going to look at a business case of what do our communities need us to be? And that's an important question. What do our communities need us to be? Not what does Jameson Auten want LTD to be. LTD is your tool. LTD is a tool and many tools in a box. And we're going to define what that is and come back with a range of options and engage the community as we go through all of our different analysis processes using what we learned through our evaluation of how we communicate with each of you. So that's where we are. A little bit of background about me. I've been in transit or public transportation for a little over 20 years. I've served in Richmond, Virginia, and then hopped over to Kansas City, Missouri, which is a hard year for me this year. Growing up in Philadelphia, I'm an Eagles fan. Spent 12 years in Kansas City. I've been to many Chiefs games and got a whole bunch of phone calls. So I ran my mouth a little bit too much to my friends back in Kansas City. It happened. It's gonna happen again. I stayed there for about 12 years, and then came over here to the West Coast. So my family has migrated over. My wife and I have 4 kids. I say kids, but the oldest is 22, the youngest is 17, and my mother is with us as well. We're all living in Eugene. We're all Pacific Northwesterners now, except for my oldest. Our oldest is still in Kansas City. So the rest of us are all Pacific Northwesterners. We know not to use an umbrella. We wear hooded jackets. Learned that right away. And we look forward to really being a part of this community. And the one thing I will say to you, and I see my friend Nate was right. Good evening. One thing I will say to you is I've learned in native Pennsylvania, but I've learned in Missouri about being a real part of the show me state. And that's the thing that I will leave you with or offer to you. The things that I'm telling you tonight are the things we're going to deliver on. We're going to deliver on a level of accountability, a level of outreach, and a level of engagement that I'm not sure you may have seen in the past. Okay, we are going to do that. The fact remains, though, that capital projects take a long time to do, right? Capital projects take a long time to do. So there's a long tail from start to finish. We're going to look to see how we engage throughout the process, whether it's a capital project or a service delivery model or something else. Okay, so that's why I get to this. And I commit to definitely coming back when I have more time so you can ask any questions that you want to ask. But I'll stop there and I can take a question too if you haven't. I'm happy to do so.
I'm concerned about this plan to take the EMX out this far, or at least the Santa Clara station. And I've read all the information that you provided. I don't see any common sense in what it achieves because the ridership isn't even going to increase even on your projections. And in the past projects, they haven't. While we're going to give up a lane of traffic that is dearly needed for the number of people that are in this area. I ride the bus and I enjoy it. I'm like, we have it. I've never seen more than 10 people on the bus I'm the northern part of the route of 51 and I can go all the way downtown in 30 minutes with no transfers. When you make the switch, I won't be able to do that anymore. So for me, it's not even going to be convenient. But I don't know who's really looking at the logistics of a project that was started. This tail you talked about, it's like, is the tail wagging the dog now? I mean, you say you're looking for public outreach, but I don't know how it's gonna really fit into any of the planning or unplanning of things that maybe we don't really need. In other words, I know that it's good to provide public transportation, I agree, but that bus isn't even getting used. And so you're gonna switch we have energy efficient buses that come out here, and then it's gonna become diesel buses. And so I just don't see how any of what I read in the report, how any of that stacked up is something that our community needs. Somebody planned it, but I don't know what is driving it. So I'm hoping you could answer some of that or tell us how we can be involved. If you want public outreach, are you going to include it in any of the decision making, and how would we be able to do that?
Yeah, so the answer to that last part is yes, is absolutely yes. In terms of what you mentioned with MX, okay, now I want you to hear me clearly. I was just in Waikiki with my wife, and downtown Honolulu is very busy, right? It's very busy. They have 60-foot articulated buses there. If you go to downtown San Francisco, you see 60-foot articulated buses. If you go to downtown Philadelphia, you see 60-foot articulated buses. You see 60-foot articulated buses running here along Pioneer Parkway in Springfield as well, right? Which environment is different from the other three, right? That one, Springfield is, right? So I think the question really is to the point of what you're saying, what is the mode that makes sense, and what is the preferred mode for the community? That's the question that we're going to answer. The project with the MX coming here, that study on the environmental, when you do the environmental impact study, you put what I call the most intrusive set of capital that you're going to put on there, and you measure that, and you can always scale it back. So it has, even if there was a plan to put 15 MX buses running, per hour, right? Every 4 minutes. You could scale back if that wasn't the plan, because you want to see what the most impact to the environment is going to be. So there is plenty of time for decision making. There's plenty of time for decision making. The process that we're going through that just kicked off right now is using world-class people to help us determine with the community what that process is for the communication. So that's what we're investing in right now, what that model looks like, so we don't repeat what you just saw. That's what we're after. In the meantime, we'll be doing the analysis of our services, both our fixed route bus network and our paratransit on-demand network, to see how that's working and what needs to be changed there. We're starting through all of that right now. Now, the beautiful thing with those pieces, except for the communications piece, those other studies were already planned before I even landed on the ground. So that's good. Now we have another lens, another framework to look at those through. So as we develop that plan, we'll probably reach out to Kate and ask if we can have someone from this group on that steering committee itself to help us lay out that plan, and then we'll bring it back to you along the way, for sure, before it's fully baked.
One over here.
Well, quick follow-up on that, thank you. If you can help us just kind of delineate a couple things here. LTD, this project is not a city project. It's not a county project, it's not a state project, it's an LTD project. The LTD does. So for communications, would go to you and your staff and the board of LTD to provide communications, provide comments, and that kind of interaction. Not the city, not the county per se. The communications should go to your shop, is that correct?
It's a partnership. So there's components that are the cities. We don't own the infrastructure. We drive on the infrastructure. Same thing with the project in Franklin Boulevard with the roundabouts. We don't own the infrastructure. We drive on the infrastructure. What we place on the infrastructure, then that's our piece of it. So it really is a joint process. I think that's part of some of the confusion, part of some of the clarity that needs to be ironed out. So we'll look at that as well. But I want to make sure that we're clear on that.
Yeah, it is a partnership, Mike, thank you. But there's a perception
Yeah,
of X, Y, Z, and I think the frustration is who's the lead to be able to say, we have these concerns. And there's concerns from a city perspective and all this other stuff, but from a design perspective and leading that, here's what our needs are gonna be, and what does it look like, just to keep that message out to, hey, come talk to us, being
Right.
LTD, we're the lead, we're gonna do that, we're gonna work with our partners, everybody's a partner in this, that you're gonna be the lead, so that's where you wanna have this communication really come down to it, correct?
correct. We want to iron that out, whether we're the lead or the city's lead. I assume we will most likely be. But we want to make sure, at the end of the day, we want to make sure that people know where to go, like what you're saying. People know where to go, whether it's us or the city. What's easier for folks using the service or folks impacted by the service. Yes. Thank you for that.
Right?
Thank you.
But you have enough time to get there by 7:30.
Yeah, I do. There's no joke.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.